Namaskar, this is Renita Mazumdar, and please subscribe to our channel and donate if you like so that we can continue creating these videos. These are very important because why this is important, I've been saying that the concept of Hindu genocide and genocide have been kind of suppressed, and every time one speaks about it, one is considered somewhat of a right wing and so forth. But that is the stereotype that we are trying to break. There is no left or right wing when it comes to justice. So we have covered feminist theory, most of it, and we have also covered the post-colonial feminist, women of color theory, which are different from the traditional Marxist feminist, socialist feminist. Now we are going to enter into something different, the concept of genocide, which we have to understand clearly before we go into Hindu genocide, because we are going to apply all of this. I'm going to follow the guidelines given by the Institute of Genocide and Atrocity Studies in Jammu, India, and I'm going to quote different authors who are experts on genocide studies. So what is genocide? We have to define everything before we even launch into it. We have to understand genocide and differentiate it from other things like hate crimes and so forth. Unless we define something, we wouldn't know what it is. Let's start with a definition which is very interesting, given by Pandit Janoraj, who was a Kashmiri Pandit about 600 years before, in his famous Raj Tarangini, which is the history of the kings of Kashmir. And he says that Janoraj, the main thing about his, it's in verses, the main thing about his theory of genocide is Jati Bidhwans, or the destruction of a race. This is very important. From Janoraj, that's all I'm saying about Janoraj. We can be back to Janoraj with this. The modern definition of genocide, we will start with Raphael Lemkin, who is a Polish Jewish author, who says, and I'm quoting, "By genocide we mean the destruction of a nation or an ethnic group. Generally speaking, genocide does not necessarily mean the immediate destruction of a nation, except when accomplished by mass killings of all members of the nation." Now, this is the important part. It is extended rather to signify a coordinated plan of different actions aiming at the destruction of the essential foundations of the life of a national group, with the aim of annihilating the groups themselves. So that part is very important. Let me read again slowly. By genocide, we mean the destruction of a nation or an ethnic group. Generally speaking, genocide does not necessarily mean the immediate destruction of a nation. Rather, it is extended to signify a coordinated plan of different actions aiming at the destruction of essential foundations of the life of a national group. Now, the United Nations Convention on Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide has some technical details. Article 1 says that the contracting parties confirm that genocide, whether committed in times of peace, it need not be always a time of trouble or riots or what have you, or time of war, is a crime under international law, which we have to prevent and undertake. Article 2 says, in the present convention, this is all United Nations Convention on Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. So Article 2 says, in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with the intent. This is a very important word, and we'll come back to intent, and we're going to apply it when we do the Noakhali genocide. Intent to destroy in whole or part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. Killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the members of a group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. So, the following is punishable by law: genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, complicity to genocide. So these are very important: genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, which we are going to apply again with Noakhali and also with the Kashmiri Pandits; direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, complicity to genocide. So what are the factors within genocide? First of all, there has to be an agent who is the perpetrator of the crime. And the perpetrator can be, usually it's a state or a dominant group. According to Vahakan Dadrian, genocide is the successful attempt by a dominant group vested with formal authority, which means the state, and the preponderant access to the overload resources of power to reduce by coercion or lethal violence the number of minority of a group whose ultimate extermination is held desirable and useful, and whose respective vulnerability is a major factor contributing to the decision for genocide. And also the state apparatus is involved. Genocide is a structural and systemic destruction of innocent people by a state bureaucratic apparatus. Genocide represents a systematic effort over time to liquidate a national population, usually a minority, and functions as a fundamental policy to assure conformity and participation of citizenry. So, that's the concept of an agent. Now, who's a victim? Israel Chan in 1994 gives a significant definition of a victim. Genocide is the generic sense, means the mass killing of a substantial number of human beings when not in the course of military action against the military forces of an avowed enemy, under conditions of essential defenselessness of the victim. Again, we are going to apply all of this. And then Frank Chalk and Kurt Johansson in 1990 draws attention to the fact that a perpetrator defines a victim. Genocide is a form of one-sided mass killing in which a state or other authorities intends to destroy a group, as the group and membership in it are defined by the perpetrators. What are the goals? Lemkin also says the disintegration of the political and social institution of culture, language, national feelings, religion, and economic existence of the national group. And this is what Jonaraju means, the deshachar, the actual practices which sustains a group. What a group is, we are going to define it. A genocide is the actualization of the intent, however successfully carried out, to murder in its totality any national, ethnic, racial, religious, political, social, gender, or economic group, as these groups are defined by the perpetrators by whatever means. What are the strategies? There are different strategies: killing members of the group, causing serious bodily harm or mental harm, deliberately inflicting conditions of life to effect physical destruction or partially imposing measures to prevent birth, forcibly transferring children to another group. Isidore Walliman and Michael J. Dobkowski, 1987, has given their definition of the strategies. Genocide is the deliberate organized destruction in whole or in large part or racial or ethnic groups by a government or its agents. It can involve not only mass murder but also forced deportation, ethnic cleansing, which happened to the Kashmiri Pandits and also the Hindus in East Bengal and East Pakistan, systematic rape and biological subjugation. Helen Fine, in her 1993 definition, says, and this is very important for feminist theory, genocide is sustained purposeful action by a perpetrator to physically destroy a collectivity directly or indirectly through interdiction of the biological and social reproduction of the group members, sustained regardless of the surrender or lack of threat offered by the victim. Now, the last factor in genocide is the intent. And this is very important because the intent distinguishes genocide from a lot of other hate crimes and so forth. According to Article 2 of United Nations conventions lay emphasis on the intent to destroy, and we will see this with the lecture given in Noakhali in 1946 by Peer Ghulam Sarawar of the intent to destroy Hindu groups. Genocide and politicides are promotions, execution, or implied consent of sustained policies by government elites or other agents. Here the state is coming in. In the case of civil war, either of the contending authorities that are intended to destroy in whole or part a communal, political, or politicized ethnic group. And this also involves iconoclast, that is breaking of the important religious structures. So what do we get? We get some definitions of genocide and different definitions. We get John Rogers' definition, we get Raphael Lemkin's definition, and we get some other definitions. We also get some factors: agent, perpetrator, victim, and strategies of genocide, and also we get the intent. Next, in my next lecture, I'm going to talk about mass killing versus genocide, and then of course we are going to talk about ethnic cleansing and so forth, and then we are going to start applying and then relate it to feminist theory. For today, that is all. Namaskar.